Morning, it is very early here in South Yorkshire. We're off down to Oxfordshire in this video, so stay tuned to see what we get up to. It's a long drive down, so I've got somebody to see on my way. Well, it's starting to get a little bit lighter. We're on his way on the busy M1. That's an old Rover in front, isn't it? It's ancient, is that? So, I've just got to my friends, David Jones's, and we've also got Nick from Vale Fresco here. We're going to go and have a look at some of the fields that David put in when we were here last with the Vardestad drill, and maybe look at some of the flood damage that's around here if we can get as far as the river, because it sounds like the I think it's the Avon, is it? I think, yeah, is really high at the minute. So we're just going to go and look around a few fields, me and David, but Nick from Vale Fresco, if you remember, when was it?
It was last year, beginning?
Yeah,
spring?
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was spring, wasn't it? It was so wet, wasn't it? And you couldn't get the salads in.
It was wet plants everywhere.
Yeah.
Must have been April time.
Yeah. So you grow a lot of, well, I'll let you say what you
yeah, a lot of salad, whole head lettuce, baby leaf, oriental veg.
And
that's the main business, yeah.
How's it at the minute?
It's just been disastrous couple of years really, with the weather wet, and we're just struggling. We need more cover to grow crops under cover.
I know you were saying last time, weren't you, because you wanted a building basically to grow pak choy.
Yeah,
you were going through planning.
Yeah, we're trying to go for planning for polytunnels, and we just can't get anywhere, and it's really detrimental to our business.
So it's not changed recently then with the change of government, because they reckon they were going to.
No, they were supposed to be bringing something in. They brought some changes for some planning on farm buildings, redundant farm buildings, but nothing that's going to.
We were going to say that doesn't really increase the agricultural production, does it? Right. When you're converting a shed that could be used for another.
Yeah, they keep going on about increasing productivity and increasing production in the UK, growing more British food. But how are we supposed to do that?
Yeah,
we need planning to change.
And it seems to be like you can get planning for a solar farm or some wind turbines.
That's right. Yeah.
Houses.
Yeah.
But to actually improve agriculture,
we can't here. We can't even get that.
well, yeah. Well, I'm off to the Oxford Farming Conference. I think there is a bit of a debate on change of land use and things like that, so maybe I'll go and listen into that and see what they've got to say there. But whether it changes anything,
well, they've been debating it for years, haven't they? And still nothing's happened.
Yeah. Because
some of these, I mean, we're looking at polytunnels for us. And then they're not even a permanent structure. They got a lifespan and they'll be ripped out, and we can't even
get that.
No.
And you'd go through the hoops, wouldn't you? You'd if they said, "Oh, it needs to have a hedge at this side and a this at that side,"
well,
you'd do it.
We've already got one on site, and we want to do more. And with the first one, we planted, believe it or not, 6 acres of land with hedging and trees and stuff.
Right.
6 acres.
6 acres out of production.
Yeah.
No.
Because the local people didn't like the view of a piece of plastic.
Right. Anyway, you've got a meeting to go to.
I have, yeah.
But it's been great to speak to you again, Nick.
Good to see you, yeah.
And we'll come and see you maybe in the summer when the salads are
going. That'd be good. Yeah.
All right, brilliant.
Cheers.
We're just going to jump up with David. I haven't said hello to you yet in video, but he's here. Going to look at some flooding possibly, and maybe that was it wheat you were putting in?
Yeah, back in late October, wasn't
it? Yeah, when we were last year with Mr. B. Yeah, that'd be good.
We literally ended up with, what did we have, about 8-9 day window?
Yeah, what, you didn't get much time, did you?
No, it was crazy, and we've
get it all in.
We did everything by about 27 hectare field, which actually, as the weather's gone, it's on a bit of tricky ground, and
just round out anyway.
We literally ran out of time. There was literally a few hours left, so crazy.
That's good. Right, we'll look at that now. So this is one of the pieces that David was drilling last time we were here. I'm going to see if anyone can spot the mistake. It was on. Oh no, it's on a few of them, isn't it? It happens to the best of us, doesn't it, then, David?
I know. I've been drilling for 30 years, and I'm very particular about block coulters and bits. But conditions were tricky. We were stopping and checking as much as we could, but I'd literally.
You needed to get it done as well, didn't you?
Well, we were pushing on, and one evening I just backed into a corner that was a bit tricky, and pulled away, and just got a spot of dirt off a tyre that plugged a coulter. But we soon got to it. But the trouble is, some days we were doing 200-300 acres, but no, I can't. You know.
The trouble is, you did it just outside the side of the yard.
That's
the
exactly.
trouble, David. You could have got away with it anywhere else.
Anybody in farming knows a block coulter just lasts all year, and you know, it's one of those. But over the years, I think it's 10 years since I last had one in the wheat. But like I say,
I get one every year, me.
It keeps us on. Keeps us sharp, doesn't it?
I'm not professional, though.
Well, no, sorry, it just shows. But one thing, the crop itself, you know, when you consider this last week, we've had 65 mil of rain, and the wheat is sat remarkably well. Like the wheat itself, despite the one block coulter, is very even and uniform. And you know, considering those conditions we had,
it's gone in well.
I can't complain at all. But you know, we've got the last 2 days of the planting in November. You know, that's been very slow to emerge. It's had so much wet on it. You know, we're going to get a percentage of loss in corners and on some headlands, but for the amount we have to do and the conditions we had, you know, the drill itself, the Rapid did a great job, and as you saw back in October, having the quad track on the front with that, you know, that traction and ability to travel like that on top has made a difference. But for us, even with all the wet, having that tyre on the back to just firm the top and just protect that seed, it just helps us eliminate, you know, a lot more losses.
Oh, what you mean? Like it's got like a press then on the back of it?
It's got that press tyre on the back that controls your depth, but also just gives that pressing element, which does avoid a lot of slug damage and all that. There's fors and against. You know, people like the time machine because it's light and can travel. But for us, we still like that element. We have got something there just to press and consolidate, because even though, and that's why we work the headlands differently to compensate for the turning. And
do you get quite a few slugs in around here?
You can do, but with
soil
type, we keep the vegetation, you know, after the last crop very low, and keep that sprayed off, keep that down, and that bit of consolidation, even in tricky conditions, saves an awful lot, because you just don't get that open slot that the wet can sit in and rock the ground, but equally the slugs can run down it. So for us, that on our mixed soil types, it still works very well. Yeah.
Do you find like if you're not into arable farming, this might not be appropriate to you, but do you find taking the straw off helps with the slug problem, or do you chop most of your straw?
We chop 75% of ours solely in rotation. The straw we do take off goes into horse bedding, so it's quite a specialist sort of market, so that pays more money, which makes it more viable to do. But for us, we do like incorporating the straw to help that soil condition. But equally, it comes down to chopping the straw really well, having the blades good on the combine, one to save fuel, but two to always get a good chop. But then the incorporation of that, depending on what we need to do afterwards, whether we're doing the deeper work or shallow, it's really important whether we're shallow that we've got the chop and spread well and mixed.
Get it mixed in there.
You can see out there that, you know, that was following spring beans, so you know, you don't get the sort of the residue we would after like a first week. But even so, the emergence And as we've said before, that square metre of crop emergence is what's really important. We've got, you know, if we're aiming for
Counting your plants.
400 seeds a square metre and we've got 380, you know, it's a good start. We can go into the spring then and manipulate the growth stages with nitrogen and go from there. But for everybody, yourself at Yorkshire, across the country, it's been a real horrible
time getting it
year.
in.
The spring last year was extremely late and wet for most people. The autumn was, you know, our other farm in Bedfordshire had recorded over 300 millimetres of rain, you know, during planting. And, you know, it was a crazy sort of amounts of rain.
It flooded one of the sheds, didn't it?
Yeah, it went round one of the yards and you know, crossed through that swathe through Woburn in Bedfordshire. They just caught a huge amount of rain. But they sat tight, did a lot of maintenance, ditching and opening culverts and things while they just physically couldn't get on the land, and then had to wait nearly a month and then had a window and got some more done. And you know, that's what we're getting to. It's snatching these 5-day windows.
Yeah.
And like this week, we've just had some snow, but we've caught an awful lot of rain. And as we've said before, the water courses, you know, we're doing everything within our own private land, maintenance, ditches and everything else, but roadside gullies, all the local council stuff seems to get neglected, and then the waterways, you know, and every year this has got.
I think we'll probably go and have a look at that, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the river's coming over down here, so we'll check that out in a second. Yeah, this is where, you had the Manitou filling the drill up. Yeah, it looks well done, doesn't it?
Well, considering the conditions, and as you know, that day it was a bit.
A bit tacky. Yeah.
It was mizzly, tacky. And on this particular field is always tricky. It's got some red marlin. It's quite steep banks. Back then, I think we did actually stop and had a cup of tea for 45 minutes, just to let the headland even dry a touch before we drilled them.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
Just to let it drill, and all them little bits do add up and help.
So there's David's miss anyway, before everybody starts commenting about it. Do you know what I always say, David? I say it'll just fill in. It'll fill in.
Fortunately, it's one culture and it is in the middle of the drill, so. But
it'll fill in. Hey, if you got one, you got the rest of them in, didn't you?
Sure, but it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. See, when you're a farmer, you want everything to be absolutely perfect. It's like when you see somebody go across with a quad bike or a motorbike across your perfectly done piece of artwork in that field.
Well, it's there for the year, isn't it? And can we blame Mr. B?
Yeah, we can actually. Yeah, it was Mr. B did have a session on the quad track, and I reckon he might have just backed up somewhere.
No, it wasn't Mr. B.
No,
it was my doing. But
we will try and. But
when you consider, well, this is where we were filming, wasn't it?
Yeah. Look at the. You got a fair few pebbles in this soil, haven't you? We don't have anything like this back home.
It's so changeable, like across these banks. Like in today, it's quite nice actually, because the frost is sort of highlighting the lows and highs. But But as we saw at the time, you know, how much more horsepower we were taking to drill on that day, just with the damp conditions. But let's have a look here where we've got fully established crop. We take that square metre. You know, that's what
you're looking at.
What we keep talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's trying to, you know, optimise that in tricky conditions, but it's getting harder to do, and trying to preempt how much rain you're going to get after planting is what's got really difficult, isn't it? Because you could have 5 mil, 10 mil, 20 mil, be fine. You get 50 mil, it can write your crop off. It's as simple as that. So it's got so tricky for everybody, and that's whether you're in a plough system, reduced till system, regenerative, all of it's
very much affected by the weather.
None of it's easy, no. You've
been doing some work to try and sort that sort that job out. Anyway, down, I don't know if you can see down in the bottom there. I remember this anyway. Probably can't see with this camera because it's terrible, but there's a couple of fence posts and some drains in there. In fact, we could have a look at them, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just looking at this erosion that's come.
You know, where the water's just come down the bank, it's picked a channel. You know, we've had that much rain.
Just flowing over the top.
The crops there, and there's a bit of soil erosion just right in that bottom valley. But up and, you know, with all that drainage we've done down this end,
I guess that would have just been a swamp if you hadn't have done that then.
Yeah, we just wouldn't have the crop there with the volume of rain we've had. So yeah, it's worked. It's done a good job.
Just saying to David as we're walking down here, I hope it's running because it's frozen. He says, "Don't worry, Joe, it'll be running."
He's running.
Oh, right, it's running. Look, they're all running, aren't they?
Yeah, running well. We've had this last few weeks, because naturally it's
took
just
off there. Yeah.
You know, and the ground's in good condition. It's not sealed, but it's just the sheer volume that's come down the bank. And you can look there. Let's off the soil away
From where you dug it out, yeah.
which will, you know,
Backfill it when you get chance.
Look at the amount of water that those are shifting.
It's going to be harder and harder for people to commit to this drainage, isn't it? With like the tax implications that have been put in. And
you know, and there's 20% of your business been taken away. The profits of, you know, this last year have been marginal, and the reinvestment money's just not there. And when we need it more than ever, you know, it's going to be really, really difficult. And we were talking about it when you last visited in October, but I think actually since then we've learnt a lot more of how much the actual impact of this all is, and not just
the
for
government's
farming.
figures just seem to be wildly off. It's only going to affect 500 farms. And
Well, I now I've read a lot more, listened a lot more. To me, they've rolled such a low ball, as low as they could go.
Yeah.
They knew how catastrophic it would be, but they've gone as low as they can, and then it feels like they might just backtrack a little bit on the odd thing. But I've been with some friends over the last few days in business, and it feels like we're going to be going back to the 1940s.
Yeah.
You know, and there was estates with roofs taken off to avoid huge taxes they couldn't afford. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, we're very fortunate how we farm and the acreage, and that helps our economies of scale. But we all started with family farm. A tenanted farm. My grandfathers on both sides had tenanted farm, and it's just evil, absolutely evil.
It is. Well, I know Steve Reid, or I think Def is something to do with DEFRA, an MP. He's going to be there.
So we've got Steve Reid, DEFRA Minister. Well, he's Environmental Minister, isn't he? He's based from Croydon in London. So I'd love to know what knowledge he has on farm field land drainage, and from an Environment Agency's perspective. You know, as we know now, there's an awful lot of offices of people working for the Environment Agency from an office.
Yeah.
We need more people out there that can work a machine, a shovel, and a chainsaw.
Have the knowledge, or even just the basic knowledge, really.
Well, even, you know, we've still got designated land drainage contractors across the country that, you know, it's an art. It's an art form, drainage. And field drainage is very different to construction and pump drainage.
It's easy to get wrong as well. I know, like when we've just had a little go ourselves and stuff, you can get it wrong.
Yeah, and
pretty easy.
And I'm very fortunate. I grew up in land drainage with my dad's business, and you know, all those things, all them little skills I was learning when I was young. You know, people aren't taught that these days, and unfortunately, certainly within the Environment Agency, it appears it's.
It feels like they just want to just leave it all alone.
Well, the environmental part of it feels it's almost environmental. to me,
Yeah.
because it's we have to maintain things and look after things, and the environmental part of it all moves with that. But this let's do nothing attitude is it's absolutely flooring this country. And you know, there's parts of Leicestershire this week, some friends of ours up in Leicestershire, that great crop farmers do their maintenance. The whole place is flooded.
Yeah.
And there's
Well,
other
what
areas,
does that do to the wildlife that's there?
it's gone. and there's other areas that have been designated for housing on floodplain that this week is just a swamp.
It'll just be adding to the load in the river.
Yeah. And
I mean, they'll say that they're going to put some kind of like drainage planning and blah blah blah. But when you get freak events,
Yeah.
they're out the window, aren't they?
well, as you know, I've been dealing with HS2 for 11 years, and the hassle and implications of all this wet again this week for them is colossal, because there's still not construction drainage been properly planned in the scheme of the whole project. And
I know
I'm
you've
still
showed me pictures and just.
I'm still the only one on the 100 kilometres to have farm severance drainage left and right side of the trace for HS2 on our farm, that's been affected.
Oh, what? So they're sorting it out now.
I consulted back to HS2 and their contractors over 8-9 years ago about the fact that we needed drainage down either side of their land trace.
Yep.
Pick up our existing land drains that are there, put a fence up, and then they work within. That wasn't done.
And they hadn't done it for anybody else.
No.
Like, not thought about that.
No, it was all talked about, and it was in the budget to do it, and that's when it should have been done. It was just ignored. and now that implication of that, for them working on their construction, they've got water running everywhere.
Yeah, because all the water from your fields would have just been going straight
all the
into
land around it, the complications, and every farm's different. You know, for us, my father did a lot of drainage alongside motorway schemes back in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
It was the first thing that was done. You came along, you put your drainage in either side to protect the high side, low side, grab your existing drains, reconnect those, and then the earth move guys came in and were working in dry ground.
Yeah.
Makes common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, don't flood where you're trying to dig.
Yes.
Well, you know when you start digging with a spade, if
Yeah.
you start digging that wet ground, it's hard going.
And the modern way around this is have these catchment pools, and they pump water in circles, round and round, but it comes back. And as I found on our land at Kenilworth, they were pumping it back into the ditch higher up.
Environmental, that, you know.
That was my word.
Anyway, should we go and have a look at some rivers?
Yeah.
So we're just leaving Nick's yard, and you can see the amount of water here backed up. Crazy. Jeez, this is wet. So that's the River Avon. Well, I'm guessing that was a field up to where, David? Do you reckon that embankment is it?
Yeah, that's all farmed land right across to the river bank.
Jeez, that's just flowing rapid.
The problem's got now, Joe. Obviously, these are river meadows, and as such, that will flood. But it's happening so much more often. But a lot of the time through the year now, with all the silt and the river only having half its capacity, the water level's higher, and it's actually back feeding up the drains and keeping the land wet.
Yeah. So they're having the opposite effect, really, of what you want them to do.
Because the hole that the water should be in is already half full before you put any water in.
Jeez, it's quite a sight, that. So that's banked up piece there is one of Nick's irrigation reservoirs to keep his crops watered, and it's going to be flooding his reservoir. Crackers, isn't it? It got a bit slippy and slidey there, and I think if the water was rising anymore, me and David might have needed his life jackets. David says he'll be alright because I bit one push in. Thanks. So what we're in here then, David?
So from what Nick was telling me at Christmas, they're using cover crops to help soil erosion and prepare the land for this next spring. And unfortunately, it's just completely and utterly flooded.
And look at that there, we're going to be driving through what is water just running and adding onto that field.
And up here we'd be 700 metres away from the river.
Oh yeah, so you're miles away from it really?
Yeah.
Well, not miles, 700 metres into mile, but
Well,
you know what I mean.
Roughly, yeah.
It's a fair distance.
And you can see we're on the higher ground above me.
In the background. So as we're leaving Nick's, we just pulled into one of his polytunnels, or the polytunnel that's here. And look at that. So you've seen all the frost and the flooded ground, and then in here it's just perfect. And they can grow salads and pak choy. I'm not sure what's in the ground at the minute, but they can grow stuff in here year round. Food production for people here in the UK, the big market of people that are, need feeding. It's not like it's massive either, is it, David? It's like, what, 4 metres to the top, something like that, 4 or 5 metres?
Yeah.
It's not a big monstrosity.
And now the all the plantation that's been done around it is screening. We're the only actual farm that overlook it, and it has very little impact to us.
Yeah.
But I think I'm right in saying this can be 12 times more productive per acre.
Right.
In here than it is outside, because obviously it's all year round.
Yeah. It's keeping the frost off it. It's.
Amazing.
I'm guessing he's got. Yeah, it looks like he's got irrigation in the roof as well.
So they've got the irrigation, then they harvest the water, and then they treat that water, I believe with natural nutrients that they can then put back over the crop.
And they're not getting the same amount of like evaporation pulling off the soil.
No. And disease-wise, look how clean
Yeah.
the crop is. It's immaculate. So, and there's huge investment. These.
Well, we've just gone past. Like, there's a lot of people work here.
Yeah.
It provides a lot of employment.
Huge. Yeah. And for Nick alone, with the national insurance increase that we've been told about, that adds £300,000 or £400,000 to a business like this. Just
Jesus.
one impact.
Yeah.
It's massive.
So that's the shed. In another pond to catch all the water, so they can use that for the irrigation. So we're just at David's barley here, looking very well. I see you've got your gateways chained up, David.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had quite a lot of poaching going on with vehicles, so it's a countrywide problem. But up until Christmas, we were targeted a lot. We'd had 700-800 acres driven over in vehicles at night. But we're working with the Royal Police and some other techniques with drone technology and drone security around the farm, and doing quite a bit to try and prevent. But the chains definitely help, and equally regarding fly tipping as well. That opportunist just to back in on like the environmental margin there, keeps those tidy. That ditch there was dug out fresh 2 winters back, and it's getting to the point that we need doing again.
Yeah, it's running plenty of water down it, doesn't it?
It is.
Looks like you've had a bit of a clean up, have you, down here?
Yeah, with the lads,
Edge cuttings.
Richard and Ben are literally last couple of days have been going around with the wheel digger and the rakes, just keeping all the outlets clear.
Yeah.
Because it's really important for us to get the water away, and that can gain us a week or 10 days in the spring when we want to get back on the ground.
Yeah. That's what I was doing on that new land. Was it last week? I think I went down. We were chucking it down, just trying to clean everything off. Because that's the problem, innit? Your outlets get bunged up, and then it all just backs up.
Backs up.
This little culvert thing that goes up. What do you call them when they go under the road?
Yeah, culvert.
Is it a culvert? Yeah. They get blocked up. You're knackered. We've just been chatting about Llama, which is coming up. Is that next week then?
Yeah, next week.
Wednesday. Is it Wednesday and Thursday? Is that right?
Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, 2 days.
So the tractor pullers, they're going to be there.
Yeah, the British tractor pullers, along with the Northwest Club. We've got some fantastic machines going this time. Obviously, I did it last year, and we got the ball rolling with Whittinghams and the other teams, Mark Pacey and Ellie and Gareth, and had a great show, busy show for us last year, and unfortunately they've asked the tractor pullers back, so drop by and meet.
Where will they be? Is it near? We're near to one of the big stands.
I think it's Hall 11.
Hall 11.
But yeah, drop by and
have a look in your little Google search it, and you can find it.
And there's going to be some real nice machines, some lovely engineering on the show, and teams there to talk about it. So it just provides a little bit of entertainment, really.
Something different.
And as you saw last year, we
were busy.
I never stopped for 2 days. It was, which was great fun, and lots of people want to come by and actually see the machines in the flesh and see what it's all about. But it's going to be an interesting show, because the machinery sector is having a
tough old time, aren't
very, very tough time. Farming's tough at the moment, which reflects into other industry, and I really feel for them. They've got a lot of infantry and machinery that's now, after COVID there was a shortage. That machinery's now there, and the market's very small at the moment. People are not investing, and that's going to continue, and very, very difficult for them. And they're really important backbone to our farming.
If we lose them, and the competition gets smaller and smaller, and we're going to be
and from we do a lot of our maintenance and repairs and service ourselves, but some of the farms haven't got that time or ability to do that, and it's very difficult.
Oh yeah, look. Look busy. Is it fairly blocked up? Which hedge cutting man do we blame then, David?
Right,
it's just part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's Richard. You alright?
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Looking busy.
Keeping it clean.
Keeping warm. So we just pulled up here, and I've just been talking to you about Llama, and I didn't record any of it, so we're just trying to recap what we said. Being honest and truthful here. I'm going next Wednesday, I think. Tractor pullers are going to be there.
Yeah, the British tractor pullers, along with the Northwest Tractor Pullers Club. I took my machine last year, along with the others, Whittinghams and Mark Pacey and Gareth Jones and some others. We had a really busy 2 days. Showing off the engineering and all the effort and work that goes into the machines.
I was going to say, when we were walking around and I got to the stand and I saw you were on it, but I couldn't really talk to you because there were that many people wanting to come and chat about the machines.
It was 12-14 deep, which was great. It offered a bit of entertainment, away from the farming, but for the supporters of tractor pulling that sponsor some of the teams, it was great. And for me, with my interest with Case Age, Vardestat, Ashbrook Plant Hire, all the guys from the manufacturers came by as well and wanted to come and say hello, and so it's just a nice way, to meet the people, and without doubt we got people to events coming to see, and
the highest horsepower tractors at Llama will be on that stand.
Correct. Yeah, there'll be some big horsepower there. And,
that case 715 that you had the other week, that would be nothing compared to them.
No.
So anyway, we've driven a little bit further down one of the lanes here, and we've got part of the Jones team.
Richard and Ben,
cleaning out ditches here.
And we've been on with this the last few days. We go round the culverts. We've got over 80 outlets to check. So it's quite a task, and it's something I do a bit of myself when I can. But you know, the guys at the mountain.
But I'm keeping you busy here, aren't I?
Well, it looks like I'll just drive around the truck and watch everybody else. But
he doesn't. He gets on with it.
But we don't. We all help each other. And but at the moment, you know, the ground's just way too wet. But Peter's in the yard doing some maintenance. But Richard and Ben are quite happy out and about. And
it keeps you warm, this sort of work, anyway.
yeah, and it's, to be honest, it's satisfying because you're getting the water off the land.
Well, like, I was doing it the other day. I think it was New Year's Day. I was out clearing the water off the land, and there's something, I don't know what it is about moving water, but there's something like takes you back to your childhood, like in the play pit or whatever at nursery, just moving water. And I don't know. It's quite, like you say, it is very satisfying and rewarding. Like,
well, one of the happiest places I am on the farm is on the 8-ton digger ditching.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding and satisfying to do, and especially, you know, when you make a nice job. Yeah. And
it's instant. Instantly, you can see that water going, but then equally, like several months down the line, you can still see the job that you did is having an action and making a difference.
Well, back in sort of 2010, 2012, back then we'd dig ditches, and those ditches would remain clear and clean for 7-8 years at least. Now we're looking at some ditches that we're having to go back to in two years.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that's just how the seasons at the moment have changed with so much more rain and things to deal with. So, you know, it's a really important job for us.
Yeah. Oh, looks like Richard's here getting on the cat digger.
Cat digger's 1990.
1990.
Yeah, it was the previous owners on the farm had the machine, and Dad and I chose to buy some of the plant that was left, and we bought the digger, and it's been a great machine.
Yeah, keeps going, doesn't it?
So,
So just taking a look at David's digger here, it's 35 years old, we've just worked out. Look at that. It's looking mint. Even the cat stickers are still on it. It's a beast, is that? Shovel on the side. How many are as nice inside as this then, eh? I feel a bit bad coming in my wet wellies and leaving a print on the floor. Look at that. Yeah, it's nice as that. Lovely machine. As David was saying, it's great to have the tracked machines, the 360s, but just being able to get out and about and get straight onto work. Airplane just going above. These are just fantastic. You can just get it out of the shed, go and do some digging, and the versatility of it is amazing. Yeah, what a beast. I like that. So we're just looking in one of David's projects here, and these are the barge boards that will go on the end of the house. These guys are working hard in the... You have got a heater, which is nice, I'm glad to see. It's looking mint. They're going to look mint when they're on the end of the house. So that's where the barge boards will go on there. So what's the story with this then, David?
this is a little cottage down by some woodland that's been quite an integral part of the farm. Lovely area on the farm, and it got to the point that I had to look at reinvesting into the property. So I got Jake and his team at local local builders, younger lads, in the 20s, early 30s. Really good guys that I've been working with, and
One's on the roof right now in the frost, isn't
yeah,
it?
he's there, and,
Doing the leading or whatever.
but they've been brilliant. The standard of workmanship, craftsmanship, for a little project like this is second to none.
Oh yeah,
It's
you're not
great.
doing it by half.
No, but they've been really sensible on the price, but the craftsmanship and the detail, as you can see,
Yeah.
I'm really pleased with it.
So I mean, not only has it got the fancy barge boards, but there's also like a fancy brickwork around the top of the windows. I'm calling it fancy because I've no idea what the name of it is, but it looks really well. You say you're gonna have a veranda on the back as well?
Yeah, so we're going to put a veranda on the back, and but it's one of those things with the farm. We have to keep on with
Maintenance.
this maintenance and investment, and if we don't, things just start to go away from us. So it's been a project on my mind for the last sort of 10 years, and time's right now. Jake was free, and since sort of September they've really cracked on, and I've helped with the drainage and other work.
Bits that you can,
we
like.
come and help out when they need it, but basically the three of them have just got on with
Cracked
it.
on with it. No, it does look brilliant, that. I might show this Becky, she might want to move to Warwickshire. Right, so I've just used, as you might have seen, David's facilities to get changed, which was very handy because otherwise I was doing it in the car down in Oxford. So thank you for that. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for showing us.
No problem,
around
Joe. Anytime. It's always good to catch up with you. And it's nice to follow up, from
Last
back in
time.
the autumn and see where we're at now. So appreciate that. Thank you.
I'd say next time be harvest, but we get fairly busy in harvest, so
Yeah, it soon,
Maybe when it
soon
seems
comes
double.
round. Like with another 5 or 6 weeks, we'll be wanting to get some fertiliser on and get things going, won't we?
Yeah. It's just at the minute it's just that time of not really being able to do much on the land and
Yeah, I'm just
getting maintenance sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, get everything prepared. We've got enough to do. We've got the ACCS red tractor inspection next week, a week after.
Everybody's gets worried about them.
So, as you saw, I've got a
Paperwork everywhere.
desk
Yeah.
of paperwork to. It's all laid out, but yeah, it's another thing to do. But no, good luck at the conference. I think it's great that you're going to head down and get some coverage and get a feel of what's going on.
Yeah. See it from a farmer's eyes, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. You've been before, I think, haven't you? in the
I
past?
went years ago, yeah, and ended up being invited to speak in a challenge debate,
Right.
which I wasn't expecting, and it turned out I was up against one of the older writers in the Farmers Weekly back then, and it was interesting to say the least. But now you'll see, one
it's
thing,
about.
the buildings and the facility is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the main draws that pulled me to it initially, just to think, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
Like it catches your attention.
Well, I'm certainly racing at the moment, and it's important you go and have a listen.
Yeah, see what they've got to say, because they're talking about all different things. So stay tuned for the next videos. We'll probably not get that in today's one, but in the next coming days we'll have some Oxford Farming Conference stuff. But thank you very much, David.
Good man.
I'll
Thank
get
you.
on my journey. All right. Right, so I've got here now to Christchurch College, where I'm going to be checking in. This is where I'm going to be stopping. But I think this is probably where I'm going to end today's video, because it's got very long. And check out tomorrow's to see a bit more of this place. We're having breakfast here, and it's got a lot of history behind it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you've liked it, press like and subscribe, and comment away. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Bye. There's a little taster of the place. Doing a bit of building work at the minute as well.